Alright, so there are a million ways that I could have started this thing off, but I'm just going to begin my review. I'm going to introduce this whole thing by saying this. Never in my life have I set such high expectations for a film before going in. And honestly, it's crazy because before I walked into the Spider-Verse, my expectations were just neutral, like kind of in the middle. I was excited for a new Spider-Man film, but at the same time, I was kind of nervous because I wasn't necessarily sure what I was getting myself into, you know, with this whole animated thing. I didn't know what we were getting into at that point, but I walked out of that movie into the Spider-Verse absolutely believing to myself that I watched the greatest thing ever put on screen. And so my expectations for Across the Spider-Verse, of course, were beyond like measurement. I felt like I couldn't even put a scale to how excited I was for this movie. And never in my life has a movie blown past, I mean absolutely skyrocketed past those sky-high expectations. I mean nothing, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean absolutely nothing can compare you to the gloriousness, the absolute madness, the absolute gem of a film that this is. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, and you can quote me on this, I absolutely despise when people come out and have the most asinine takes because they're coming just such fresh. They're coming off of like the fresh viewing of movies and they kind of, you know, say some outlandish stuff. Like some people walk out of some movies and say that's the best thing I've ever seen. That's the greatest this. That's the best that. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you I've taken so much time. I literally walked out. I came out of my 9 o'clock showing of that film and walked into an 11:30 showing just to make sure I wasn't tripping. But ladies and gentlemen, I can truly confirm to you, and I'm going to watch this thing at least 17,000 more times, but I can truly confirm to you that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, for me, is the greatest movie I have ever seen in my life. This movie is pure art. This movie is absolutely just, it's harmonic, it's angelic, it's absolutely graceful, it's absolutely just... It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen put to screen for so many different reasons. And we just have to get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse starring Shameik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Oscar Isaac, Brian Tyree Henry, and was directed by Yoquan Dos Santos, Kemp Brown, and I believe his name is Justin K. Thompson. And our story follows Miles Morales as he's trying to fight this brand new villain called The Spot, and ends up finding out that The Spot is actually connected to a much grander spider scheme than we can actually fathom, and it is actually connected to the multiverse in a way. So Spidey has to team up with Gwen and his new spider friends in a certain sense and try to undo what the Spot is trying to do. That is the best way I'm going to describe the plot. Hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, I'm sorry. Like I'm truly trying to keep as little detail as possible because truly, this is a non-spoiler review, by the way, but truly I really need people just to understand that they need to go see this thing. Like, if there's nothing you take away from my review, like beyond anything else I say from this point, I need you to just hear me out. Just go watch this movie. Please go experience this for yourself because this is an event movie unlike any other, but it's an event movie for so much more than just being a comic book movie and involving your favorite superheroes and cameos and just so many Easter eggs and things like that. It's so much bigger than that because this is a movie that truly speaks to the soul. This is a movie that speaks to your heart. This is a movie that makes you feel alive. It makes you feel like a human. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. I saw this movie on shrooms. My first viewing of this movie was on shrooms, and I felt everything that this movie had to tell me. Like, this movie had me tearing up in multiple occasions. I was honestly, I'm getting pretty emotional now, but I'm not on shrooms now, of course. But honestly, it's crazy because the first 15 minutes of this film, before we even get to the title card, and I'm not even going to say what the first 15 minutes is, but the first 15 minutes of this film is damn near better than the majority of porn I've seen in my lifetime. I'm not going to lie to you. Like it's absolutely ridiculous what they're pulling off. Movies are not supposed to be able to achieve what this movie is achieving on screen. And I'm talking about from an animated standpoint, because there's so many things I could point out that this movie did absolutely perfectively, but I'm gonna try to make it all make sense. I'm gonna go in a way that I can truly just make it all make sense to you guys. So we'll start with the animation. First of all, kudos and thank you to every single animator that worked on this movie, because I'm absolutely speechless as to what this movie was pulling off with the animation. And I'm talking about beyond going to the different multiverses and being able to have all these different variations of Spider-Man be in one room and things like that. I'm talking about there are moments in this film where people are literally having conversation, and as emotions are being drawn out, as feelings are being dealt with, as characters are being developed, as feelings are being talked about, the animation and the color schemes move with that to match the mood of the movie. So anytime there's like a melodramatic, a serious scene going on, the animation will match it. You feel those colors, you feel that vibrant, the vibrant paintbrush strokes. You feel every sadness, emotion that you're supposed to feel. And when the action is going up, you feel every moment of intensity. You feel absolutely everything. And the animation is a big reason that they are pulling this off. I mean, at one point in this movie, and I'm talking about very early in, at one point, maybe 30 minutes in, honestly, not even 30 minutes in, maybe 10 minutes in, I literally said to myself, they're just showing off at this point. They are literally just showing off. The animation is absolutely ridiculous, man. And as far as the multiverse aspect goes, or the Spider-Verse aspects goes, this is the best use of a multiverse I've ever seen used in a movie so far. This movie does the multiverse correctly. I mean, I honestly, before I even get to all the characters and the story and the absolutely phenomenal villain in both, I mean, it depends on how I guess you look at it, but the Spot and Miguel O'Hara, before I even get to all of them, I just need people to understand that this movie truly spoke to me in a whole different way. It inspired me to truly go after what I want in life. And honestly, I'm really hoping that I can make this YouTube thing blow up. Honestly, I'm really hoping I get a lot of views on this thing. I'm really sitting here hoping I can really make this thing blow up. I just have to stay consistent at it. But I need people to understand, if they're I need people to understand, sorry, for the anomalies out there, for all the anomalies out there, for the people that feel like they're alone, they're in a big wide universe by themselves and they feel alone. There's something out there for you. There's something in you that makes you spectacular. There's something in you that makes you amazing. That, literally watching this movie, I'm realizing why they call him the spectacular Spider-Man, why they call him the amazing Spider-Man, because there's something in all of us. This is a character. This is why I relate to Spider-Man so much and why I absolutely just adored this character since I was a kid, because this is a character for me. And it's crazy because my friend literally asked me before we even got into this thing, my friend asked me, he was like, yo, why is Spider-Man your favorite hero? And I literally told him, I said, there is something about a nerd just being feeling like he's just so different from everybody else. There's something inside him that makes him so different. He's not necessarily sure how to fit in, but he has this ability. He has this special gift that makes him so spectacular. He's able to be one of the most special people and nobody knows it. Peter Parker, the characters of Peter Parker and Spider-Man have spoke to me in so many different ways over my life. And I'm so thankful to this movie for truly bringing to light something I could never in my life imagine I could ever put to screen. On top of that, and something I could never truly explain to others about how much I love Spider-Man. This movie truly explains all of my thoughts and just love that I have for this character of Spider-Man. This movie does Spider-Man 1,000 times completely just correct. They honestly get this character so well to the point where they made, honestly, all the different variations of Spider-Man fit the lore. I mean, this movie's plot is absolutely insane. There's so many life messages in this film. There's so much heart and so much emotion in the first half. It gets you ready for such an action-packed second half. And the first half has a decent amount of action as well, but there's just so much in this film to appreciate. There's so much in this film to absolutely love. Like I said, I praise the animation. Before I get to some of the other characters in the film, I want to start by well, I guess I've already started, but I want to get to the Spot. I want to talk about the Spot for a second because, ladies and gentlemen, this man is a menace. This man is an absolute nemesis. This is not just your villain of the week. This is not just a run of the mill, a little side villain that is a part of this film. This dude is an absolute menace. I absolutely loved everything that they did with this character, the Spot, man. This dude is him. This dude is absolutely him, man. I mean, honestly, his backstory is hilarious. It fits the comedic tone that this movie tries to honestly balance with I say that this movie does have a bit darker tone than the first one for sure, because they're dealing with a bit more serious, things as far as like the Spider-Man story goes. And honestly, as far as the Spider-Man story goes, this is the most in-depth story we've ever gotten from a Spider-Man movie since Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. And honestly, that one's pretty close too. But as far as like actually taking everything you've gotten from the original, from the first film, and just really knocking everything up by like 12 and just really diving very deep into the character development of Miles. This movie is a complete character study on Miles Morales. This movie is a character study on Spider-Man, and it's a character study on Gwen Stacy as well. I mean, Haley Steinfeld was amazing in this movie. The voice performances, oh my gosh. Like these characters don't feel like as much as, I hope this makes sense. Like, these characters, while yes, I do understand that they are animated, they don't feel animated. They feel as real as any actor I've seen on screen themselves. Like, these characters feel as real as human beings. These characters are absolutely 100% people, and the movie makes you feel that way. Like, you feel like you're not just watching cartoons do things on screen. You feel like you're watching an actual person go through just the most ridiculous objectives in his fucking life, and I absolutely just am astounded. I am speechless, guys. Never in my life have I ever walked out of a movie just completely mind blown and so speechless, and never in my life have I ever walked out of a movie and literally walked into another showing in the same day. Like, I've never seen a movie back to back like that. I had to make sure what I saw was real. I had to make sure that wasn't a dream. And I'm going to see this thing again today at 1:30. I am so excited. I will see this thing as many times as I possibly need to, because this thing is just transcendent. It's revolutionary. This movie is what a lot of movies can only hope to be. Like a lot of movies this year are going to try to take the crown from this thing here, because this is by far the best movie I've seen this year. By far, it is a runaway. It's not close. It's truly something that's just absolutely transcendent, and you have to see and experience for yourself. I mean, honestly, let's get into the voice performances at this point. Look, Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, dude is immensely talented. I absolutely adored everything that Shameik Moore brings to that character, man, and just watching the character of Miles Morales himself just grow into his own is absolutely spectacular, man, because honestly, for the longest time, Miles Morales was getting some shit treatment, man, and they just weren't doing him justice. But Sony here is making sure that Miles Morales is going to be hung up in a monument somewhere, because this dude is truly going to be one of the greatest fictional characters of all time when it's all said and done. Him and Spider-Punk. Let me explain something to you. Spider-Punk for freaking president. Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk was freaking terrific. He stole the show. He was one of the best characters in the world. I absolutely cannot wait to have more of Spider-Punk. That dude was amazing. I'll say this. Issa Rae as Spider-Woman. She was amazing. All the other Spider cameos, they were absolutely terrific, man. It was so much fun seeing so many callbacks to moments of my Spider-Man life that I absolutely just adored seeing on screen. I had so much fun with it. Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara. Oh my goodness. Never in my life have I been just so blatantly mad at a character, like really wanting to actually fight a character back for just being such a dickhead. Like, you understand why he's stuck in his ways, and you understand why he's doing what he's doing. And that's the other thing. This movie has so much going on, but it does such a terrific job in keeping it, like, you know, a very smooth transition to where you don't feel lost. There's so much going on as far as like, you know, who Miles is battling as far as the Spot goes, and then he's doing things in the Spider universe where he's seen as a villain down there as well, or he's seen as a threat. And honestly, you know, there's just so much going on that this movie could honestly at times possibly lose you, but it never does. You're following the movie the entire time. You are absolutely invested in everything that's going on, guys. I can't stress this enough. I'm absolutely speechless, man. This movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's something that really truly spoke to me as a Spider-Man fan. It spoke to me as a film fan. It truly was just something that I could never dream of, man. Like, and it's really ridiculous because there's another one of these. Like we're gonna be singing the highest of praises for this movie, and they're supposed to be making another one. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to take another one. I'm gonna be real with you, because that's true. Because this movie here has truly broken all types of scales of mine. Like as far as like ratings, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. 5 stars, like none of those do it justice. This movie is literal perfection, ladies and gentlemen. Like this, I have no issues with this movie. This movie took everything that I adored about Into the Spider-Verse, and they just completely just showed out in this film with it. The music in this film is phenomenal. The soundtrack and the score itself. The score is absolutely transcendent. The score is ridiculously good. The soundtrack itself, Metro Boomin did what Metro Boomin does, man. He just absolutely killed it. I mean, guys, Spider-Man is going to be a movie to define generations for years to come. I'm not gonna lie to you. This trilogy itself will be one of the greatest, not comic book trilogies of all time. This movie will stand next to trilogies like The Lord of the Rings. This movie, I truly believe that, because The Lord of the Rings is truly one of the greatest trilogies I've ever seen in my life. And I promise you, by the end of this, Spider-Man Spider-Verse trilogy will stand right next to it. I promise you that. I can promise you that, because these movies clearly are only here to get better and better, and I truly don't know how they're going to top themselves after what they did here. But this is truly an animated canvas. This is truly a spectacle. This is truly a masterpiece, a master class in every sense of the word. This movie is absolutely one that I think everybody needs to see, whether you're a film fan or not. This movie will make you a fan of Spider-Man. This movie will make you a fan of movies. This is literally why I love movies, because of things like this. This movie makes me feel like I can achieve anything. This movie makes me feel like I can go after anything, and you can too. For the anomalies out there in the world, for the people who feel like they are alone, I promise you, you are not. There is a home for you somewhere. Guys, Spider-Man is truly a character for me that has truly just, you know, made my life so much better throughout the years, man. Like watching Spider-Man, I've always seen myself through this character. And for the longest time, man, I just truly felt like there was not, like, if there were ever a movie that, if you were to ask me what movie defines me, what movie describes myself and who I am as a person, I would point you in the direction of this one. I would point you into the direction of Across the Spider-Verse. And before this movie came out, I'd probably point you in the direction of a Spider-Man movie, either Into the Spider-Verse or Spider-Man 2. But Across the Spider-Verse is truly one of the greatest triumphs I've ever seen in cinema history. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this movie has completely broken my scale as far as ratings go. So for all those reasons and 10,000s of million more, I'm going to give Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse absolute perfection. I can't get into detail, of course, but another thing that I did want to talk about before I end this review is essentially like the frameworks, like the shot by shots that you're going to be able to pull from this movie. A lot of those shots should be studied in museums. Those shots should be studied in art class, film classes, because, oh my goodness, the ending of this film has a sequence dealing with a song. I don't want to get too deep into it, but the ending of this film has a sequence that absolutely should be a part of Black History Month as far as I'm concerned. I mean, absolutely terrific. There are so many shots in this movie that should be just studied, hung on walls. I wish I could honestly take a lot of shots from that movie and hang them around my room, because that movie is just absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful is an understatement. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's perfection. But look, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff and so much more. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this absolutely spectacular movie. How many times do you plan on going to see it? Because I definitely plan on seeing it a lot more this weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching, though. I really do appreciate it. Please be... Oh, well, I already did the like, share, subscribe stuff. Look, thank you guys so much for watching. Look, this is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.